welcome to Career Center. I'm Kimberly White, Executive Director of the Community Career Center, a resource center located in Naperville for people in career transition. If you are unemployed, underemployed, or seeking a career change, this show is for you. Career Center will bring human resource professionals and other experts together to provide job search tips to assist you as you search for your next success. Later on Career Center, we will talk networking with expert Maguire Dooley. But first, it is my pleasure to introduce Nicole McClain. Nicole is a senior direct hire consultant with over 20 years experience in the search and staffing industry. She's going to talk to us, among other things, how to help our audience understand search firms, staffing agencies, and how they can best benefit those in a job search. So Nicole, welcome.
Thank you.
So let's just start off by talking about who you are, what you do, and the company that you work for.
Sure. I work for Banner Personnel, which is a search and staffing firm that's been around. We're starting our 45th year in business. I've been with Banner since it was my first job out of college, so I've been in the search and staffing business since the beginning of my career. And we've helped thousands of people and companies make connections for their future, for their teams, for candidates, for their future careers, and for companies, for great employees.
Okay, great. So Nicole, and you're with Banner, and Banner's all over. They're not just unique to the Illinois area.
We do have offices in California.
Okay.
So we have 4 regional offices in the Chicagoland area, and then several also on the West Coast in California.
Okay.
We do search and staffing nationwide, but specialize in those two locations.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So if someone were to come to you at this location, would they also be able to receive help from, say, one of your other 4 locations in the area? Okay.
Absolutely. We all work together. In fact, we do once a month or sometimes quarterly, we do things as a company. We have meetings with our staff, and many of us have worked together at different locations. So it's a tight-knit, family-owned company, and we all work together.
All right, well, great. Well, let's get right into it. So tell me, what are the advantages of working with a staffing agency? I know that some of our clients, when we mention, take a look at a staffing agency just to try to get some assistance in your job search, some of them think, well, that's just temporary. But give us some tips on that.
We do. We have a lot of different options for people that are looking for work. We have, and there's a lot of companies in our industry that do this, but Banner, for example, we have several different divisions that specialize in different areas. So we have a division that focuses on temporary staffing, and that is temporary staffing for across all industries, all different types of positions, from entry level up to professional level. Then we have an industrial division, which is not just light industrial, but maintenance mechanics, warehouse, material handlers, and those types of positions. And then we have a direct hire division that focuses exclusively on direct hire. So we help companies recruit and identify the talent that they're looking for to add to their team.
And do you have contracts with certain companies, or do you do this with just a variety of?
Both. We have some longstanding clients that we've been working with for years, and that's why we don't necessarily specialize in one particular industry, because we've had these longstanding relationships with companies that are across all industries. So, we, for example, we're working on several accounting positions. I've recently placed some project managers in the construction field and estimators. We've also placed customer service professionals and even executive level human resource positions.
Okay. So Nicole, what type of communication should a candidate expect when they are working with a staffing agency?
It's a good question. It's something that you definitely want to discuss with your consultant, whoever it is that you're speaking with, because everyone has a little bit of a different expectation, but as long as you clarify those expectations up front, typically, for example, for me, when I initially talk with a candidate, if it's someone that I feel that I'm going to be able to work with on the direct hire side, we set up, we'll contact each other within the first 48 hours just to see what progress has been made. If there's a contact or someone within our networks that we need to reach out to. On the temporary staffing side, we ask that all of our candidates contact us once a week at a minimum, or when their availability changes.
Okay.
And that goes also in the industrial division. So.
And so when you determine that you have a client, like you mentioned earlier, that you could work with, what are some of the things do you bring that client in and have a one-on-one meeting first and then?
Sure. It depends. In some cases, we like to individually meet with every candidate that we're representing, and just to put this out there, when we're meeting with candidates, ultimately we work for the client companies. They are paying us to find them employees. So that often determines what we're looking for in a person, because that changes. So if we are working with several different companies that are looking for people that have a stable background in accounting, then we are out there looking for people with accounting background. Perhaps they're looking for someone with, they only want CPAs. So then if you don't have a CPA, we'll still talk to you, because we work with a lot of other companies, but we might bring you in sooner. We certainly don't want to waste anyone's time. We bring someone in when we feel that there's a good chance that we're going to be able to help them quickly. Otherwise, we have a database that we utilize, and we set up a method of contact. So let's touch base again in a month. I don't have something right now that I could talk to you about, but I can tell that you're a strong candidate, that you are going to be someone who would be a good fit for one of our clients. But getting back to your original question, what makes someone a good candidate? There are definitely a lot of intangibles.
Stand out.
Sure, a standout.
Yeah.
There's definitely a lot of intangibles. So number one, someone that is flexible. Someone who's flexible and open-minded, but also knows what they want. We have candidates sometimes that come in and they'll say, well, I'll do anything. And that's really hard to help someone that will do anything, because a company doesn't want to hire someone that will do anything. They want to hire someone that wants to do what they need. So it's good to have some focus, but also state your flexibility, what you're willing to be flexible on. That's always good. Someone who's polished and articulate. That always goes a long way. That makes good eye contact and has a positive attitude. So you mentioned that you work for the client, but as a job seeker, if I were to come to you, you obviously know information about what the client is looking for. So can you also be somewhat of an advocate for the job seeker as well? Absolutely, absolutely. When we meet with someone, even if it's someone that we know we can't help at that time, or perhaps maybe, if it's someone who's making a career change that doesn't have a lot of experience and we know there's not a good chance we're going to be able to help them, we absolutely will try to connect them with someone that we know may be able to help them. We have a great network, especially in the Naperville community for a long time. We have a great network of people that we work with that we can refer them to, but we also make recommendations, suggest perhaps job boards or other organizations where they can get more support for what they're looking for. Okay, so the first step, they come in, they meet with you, you look at their resume, you offer tips and suggestions on their resume as well? Absolutely. Okay. Really, the first step is over the phone. We don't always bring everyone in right away. So we try to set those expectations up front. If it's someone that we know that we're going to be able to work with immediately, we do try to meet with them in person. We bring them into our office. Then the next step is the interview process, and that's really the first part of the screening process, because we do promise our clients that screening. So how someone interviews, sometimes people are nervous, and so in that interview, sometimes we can discover some things that we can tweak to help them interview better. Okay. So you screen out, you try to help these clients and screen out, or if they may or may not be able to work for a company. Either way, right, absolutely. If we meet with them, we definitely will say, sometimes people will say, well, I had this happen, or I was fired from this job, and this is what happened. And we try to coach them on the best way to present those sticky things. Certainly you have to be forthright and honest about everything that you've done, but there's a way to present yourself where you can minimize the negativity.
Okay. So you mentioned temp positions and also direct hire.
Yes.
So can the temp positions lead into a permanent position?
Absolutely.
Okay.
In some cases, we have temporary positions that we know are just temporary. But even in those cases, sometimes someone will go work for a client company, and the company will be very impressed with their background, and they'll think, where else can we fit this individual into our organization? We also get positions where we know it's a temp to hire situation where they want to bring someone in, the company wants to bring someone in, but they want to try them out first before they commit to that individual and offer them benefits and that type of thing. So typically that's a fixed period of time, and you know that up front. You know it's 60 days or 90 days, you'll be a temporary employee, and provided everything goes well, you'll get hired by the company. Okay. Ultimately, when you start a new job, whether you're hired directly by the client company or not, there's always a probationary period. Right. So really there's not much disadvantage in this kind of hiring. If you are currently unemployed, temp to hire is an excellent option.
For you. Okay. And what about the benefits and the salary? Who negotiates that? Is that already determined? You all come to the client with that, or is there room to negotiate?
It depends on the company. There is room to negotiate in some cases. In some cases, the client company will tell us, this is the range for what we can pay. It's our job to be experts and know, we talk with so many different companies and so many different individuals and job seekers that are out there, that it's our job to understand what is a fair market value for the skills that you have. So we also want all of our candidates to be excited about the offers that they're receiving, and everyone's excited to get a little bit of a bump. I mean, we'd all be excited for a great bump, of course. We want to get as much money as we possibly can, but at the same time, it needs to be fair.
Right. So as we start to wrap up here in a minute, recruiter etiquette. Is it appropriate for a job seeker to let a recruiter know if they're meeting with another staffing agency or they're signed up with another agency?
Absolutely. Absolutely. At this stage, and the way the market is now, there are a lot of jobs out there, and some companies have exclusive relationships with companies. I know we definitely have clients that we work with that don't work with other agencies, and I'm sure there's other companies that do the same. Of course, we all want to work with as many companies as we can, but because of that, I definitely say, and it depends though, if you have a good relationship and your recruiter is getting you the kinds of interviews that you are looking for, then maybe it's too much to manage all of those relationships. But if you're not getting a lot of interviews, absolutely reach out to as many as you'd like.
Absolutely. Great. Well, thank you so much. As we wrap up, I want to thank you for sharing your insight and expertise with our audience. Thanks so much, Nicole.
Thank you, Kim.
Joining me next, therapist and author Joy Maguire Dooley, to discuss networking and the job seeker. We'll be right back after this public service announcement.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Hey, my name's Katie and I'm in the 9th grade. I'm an A average student and I'm an athlete working towards a scholarship. And everybody tells me how much potential I have. But I just wish someone would tell me where my next meal is coming from. Katie, how'd I do?
Do you have to be so serious?
Well, I mean, I did like a crazy dance in a movie if you want me to do a little, no.
Play a role in ending hunger. Visit feedingamerica.org/hunger and find your local food bank.
Welcome back to Career Center. I'm Kimberly White, and I'm happy to have joining me at the table therapist, author, and networking extraordinaire, Joy Maguire Dooley. Welcome, Joy.
Hello, Kim. It's great to be here. Thanks.
Always good to have you. Joy, I know probably everyone in TV land knows who you are, but Tell us who you are.
I think you just did it, except the extraordinaire piece might be a bit of a stretch. I am Joy Maguire. Dooley and I work for Lisle Township Youth and Family Services. I have co-authored a book. I am a loss and grief counselor, hence that's why you invite me to this party, I think, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And you facilitate our job club that we have every Wednesday at the Community Career Center. Want to tell a little bit about that?
Yes, it starts at 10:30. Be there a little bit early because it can fill up every Wednesday at the Community Career Center. And what we do is strictly give each other context. Mm-hmm. That's the heart of the networking. When people hear networking, they go, and it's just being who you are and connecting with somebody else. And that's what we do there.
If you ask any expert, you included, what's the number one thing you need to do in terms of looking for your next job, your next success? It is network, network, network.
Right. They do. The statistics say 70 to 72% of how you get your next job is through networking, and I even think it's higher. That's not strictly networking; it's doing all the homework and all the other things. But the real deal is networking.
Yeah. So what I want to talk to, and we've talked about networking before on this show, but what I want to really focus on today is about the introvert and networking.
Excellent. And the good news and the bad news about for introverts is that introverts think that, oh my gosh, I have to do something different because I just know 3 or 4 or 5, 6 people, now what do I do? Well, the good news is introverts make really good connections. And they know people and they support people, and extroverts like you and I know a zillion people. But basically, I think introverts make better networkers. I really do.
And you say that because why?
Because you and I, well, I'll speak for me. We know a lot of people, but you know what? I don't know kind of like all about their family. Don't know where they went to school. I mean, I know them. But an introvert will be able to tell you a lot about a person.
That person.
And that's what you need to do in networking. You have to be there for somebody else. And I think that's a key. I think you didn't ask me about a key, but I'm going to give it to you, Kim, right up front.
Go for it.
I do think that if you could say to somebody, how can I help you? And they know that you really mean that, they're your best network ever, because somebody, in job club, like on Wednesdays, the person who says, I'm looking for this, and these are my targets, et cetera, and they end with, but I'd love to connect with you on LinkedIn. I'd love to, I'm here for you. If I can help you, please let me know. They're the people you want to help as well.
Right. And when I think about it, I think of an extrovert as being an interesting person, and an introvert being interested.
Oh, good one. I like that.
Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. And somebody was saying that they are an introvert, and I said, tell me something that works for you. And they said what worked is it sounds like counterintuitive, but they would go onto some social media and connect with one other person that they know, and then go to a networking event with them. So the first key isn't just walking into a room with people you don't know, but to connect with someone and then go. And that really seems to, you don't have to stick with them, but it
seems to help them kind of.
Right.
Yeah. What about volunteering at the networking event?
Absolutely.
Would that be good for a person who's an introvert?
Absolutely. And you know what, I don't care if you're an extrovert, introvert, young, old, when you can talk about your passion, when you get involved in something. We had a gal that came last week, actually, and self-proclaimed introvert, but every time somebody would mention a nonprofit, she'd be right there with, well, I know so-and-so, would you like the card for, So you forget that you're an introvert. You forget that, you don't want to, you're afraid to talk to somebody. And volunteering, you say, okay, here I go. I'm passionate about this. How about you?
Right. I know one of the things, we have a group that meets on Mondays that Becky facilitates. And it's all about, making sure you are accountable in your job search. I would think as an introvert, if you, tell yourself, I'm going to go into this networking group and I'm going to talk to 5 people.
I would
like
say
put a
that's
number
kinda
on
high.
there.
That's kind of high.
But I
Yes,
mean, you put a number out, and then you make sure you achieve whatever that is.
Absolutely. Well, that goes for introverts, extroverts. I mean, sometimes people just are so busy connecting and having fun, or talking to people, they forget that there's a next step. So after you connect with somebody, there's a next step. You follow up. Yes. So I think 2 is probably for an introvert. 2 would be good.
Okay.
And 2 can be, very effective.
Right.
You just
Absolutely.
need one.
All you need is one. Okay. So as we are networking, let's talk about the elevator speech, because I hear different things. 30 seconds, 60 seconds, 90 seconds. From the expert herself, what should it be?
There are no shoulds.
Okay.
There are no shoulds.
Okay.
In every situation, perhaps it's different. But I had a funny experience. I was going to give a presentation. I was on the elevator, getting on an elevator, and somebody got on, and I could just tell by what they were carrying, how they presented themselves, that they were in job search. And I said, of course, hi, I'm Joy. Because someone's going to say, who cares? But he didn't say, who cares? And I said, tell me about yourself. And we had from the first floor to the 16th floor to connect on some level.
Right.
And that's what I went, oh, I bet that's an elevator speech. Okay, in the groups, in a networking group, I think it's extremely important to be very positive. And what we do at the Community Career Center on Wednesdays, we give a wow factor. It might sound like you're touting yourself, but it helps someone identify you. So we give people in a networking group 2 minutes, because that's the average attention span of the average adult. And of course, we don't have average people at the Community Career Center, but they might be meeting with someone who's average. So we say, within 2 minutes, you're going to make it or break it here. But the first 16 words, I think, are the most impactful. So give us a wow factor. Maybe you're a marathon runner. Maybe you're an Eagle Scout. Maybe, so... in the elevator speech, make sure somehow that's in there. But the most important thing is to let people know what you're looking for, and one step further, where you would like to work.
So speaking of handbills, so we're going to go there next.
Oh, okay.
So your handbill is going to talk about where you'd like to work, your target company.
Right, as opposed to a resume. A resume is where you have been, but no one can help you get that last job. We're here to help you get that next one. So tell us what you want to do and where you want to work. And if you're doing it verbally, people, can you guess what the number is of how many companies you can tell somebody before they'll forget?
Oh, I'd probably say 3 or 4.
Excellent, Kim. That's why you are so good. 3. Tell them 3. If it's on a handbill, you put 10. 10 is a very workable number.
Okay.
And if, for example, if somebody throw a company out, maybe, paychecks. And maybe I don't know somebody at paychecks, but we do. But, then, okay, well, then they say, oh, then he or she's looking for something in the payroll type thing. How about ADP? So that's how that works. So it doesn't mean it's limited to that. It just gives you a starting point. And handbills are really, really important, because when you go home, if somebody, picks up and goes, oh, I just got something across my desk from ADP, I'm going to call Jeff.
I love handbills, but I also like business cards. You can't put as much on there, but your thought on business cards and networking.
Absolutely. Business cards, for some reason, I don't know about you, but I have a book. When I say this thick, I am not joking. Nobody dares throw a business card away. I'm not sure what we're doing with them all. But nobody throws a business card away. So it's.
I was going to ask you, what do you do with all those cards? Okay,
well, what I do is I obviously put them according to alphabetize them according to a company that they've worked in, so that they can be a contact for someone else. So that's for me. How about somebody else? Somebody else that would be doing that in job search, you write something on the back of the card, or you do that, the front of the card, so that you know where you met them and something about them. But it's important in job search, and put something on there that will identify you, whether it be, people say, I don't want to narrow it. I kind of, Nicole talked about that earlier, if you don't know, if you can't say something about what you want to do, nobody's going to be able to help you.
Right. Is it important to join an organization, or as you're in this network, part of your job search?
Like the Community Career Center?
No, like, if you were a doctor, so you would join the American...
Okay, yes, association, yes, absolutely. Absolutely, because once again, it's another networking tool. It's all in an area that you're versed in, and you can always have some common ground to connect with someone, and then hopefully, you ask them, tell me something about you, and you're going to find a common ground.
And then your thoughts on social media and networking, very important?
I think all of it. You need to do all of it. Networking, obviously.
But be careful with social media, the right tools.
Correct. And then, as I said, as far as LinkedIn is probably the top. Facebook, people go on it, but they also tell their life story. LinkedIn is still a little more professional.
And I know at the Career Center, we do a really good job of trying to encourage people to stay positive as they go through their
I know
networking.
that's hard.
Yes.
I know that's hard. One thing that look back on your resume, look back on, oh man, I did do that. Or talk to, get in a group of people that knew you from the past and say, tell me something, how do you remember something I did? And or, as you mentioned earlier, volunteering. Nothing beats volunteering. I don't care if you're paid employment, unpaid employment. Volunteering just makes you feel good about yourself, and it helps the world. We're all about helping the world.
And in volunteering, do you look for something you're passionate about, or just in general?
Well,
whatever?
I mean, you might as well, if you're giving your time, do something that you really believe in. And also, if you can do the skill that you have, so that you can add that to your resume, that's a double bonus. But other than that, a really quick networking story. There was a gal who was in marketing, I believe she was in marketing. She volunteered at Family Shelter Services. And one day, the cleaning crew didn't come. And so she scrubbed the bathrooms. That wasn't what she normally did, but she did. And she got a call the next week from the president of the board. And said, would you like to apply for the job of development? She said, well, that's not really what I do. And he said, well, anyone who's willing to scrub the floors believes in our organization. You're the best person to sell it.
Wow,
so
that's a great story. You never know.
Nope.
Joy, well, thank you so much. Time's up. As we wrap up, if you want to learn more networking from the best, plan to attend Job Club on Wednesdays from 10:30 to 12:30 at the Community Career Center. On a side note, if you're looking to support the Career Center, please come out and join Joy, who happens to be on our board of directors, myself, and the rest of the Community Career Center staff at our annual fundraiser.
It's fun.
It's fun. Dancing with the celebrities. This is going to be held on Wednesday, September 16th, 5:30 to 8:30 at Maison Sabika. Celebrity dancers this year include Richard Brink, Matt Chicola, Nicole D'Ambrosio, Tina DiCastino, John Crumman, Scott McKay, Dominique Martucci, and Danielle Tufano.
Wow.
We are super, super excited about our dancers. Joy, again, I want to thank you for being a part of this month's edition of the Career Center. And I also want to thank Nicole. Until next time, we'll see you. Thanks.